Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Why I Need podcast. Thank you for joining us. And if you haven't subscribed, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We appreciate all of our new subscribers, everyone that continues to watch all of our content. We want you to engage with us in the comment section and we'll go from there. Thank you once again. And we want to talk about Trump and Putin's meeting in Alaska. I believe that just got concluded, or maybe it got concluded too early because everybody was expecting Trump to bring back some wins to the people. But it looks like no deal was made, and Putin went back to Russia. So no ceasefire agreement, nothing that Trump can boast about. And we know Trump is always boasted about being a great deal maker. Unfortunately, it's not really transforming into results in these situations. We know he's gotten some wins with the tariffs, even though the American people are paying the tariffs, but we know he's gotten some wins on that. They're claiming they're bringing back a ton of money to the U.S., even though the people inside the U.S. are paying for the tariffs. And, it promised to end the Gaza-Israel wall. The war is still ongoing. It promised to end the Russia and Ukraine war. We're still at it. So, what do you think is going on?
Putin is not a push around. He's not somebody you can push around. He's been around for a long time. He's in terms of leadership. I think he's the most experienced for now. He have seen several U.S. presidents. I think he saw Bush. I think he even saw Bill Clinton. He saw Bush Jr. He saw Obama. He saw 45th Trump. He saw Joe Biden, and he's seen Trump again. So he can almost predict these people, except for Trump that came from a business background. The rest of them that came from the ranks, he probably followed their political development, their trajectory. It's just like, tomorrow Marco Rubio becomes a president. He knows he has known Marco Rubio when he was, before he even, became a politician, and maybe probably when he became a House of Representative and a senator. There is nothing anybody can tell him about Marco Rubio. So, with regards to that, what I'm trying to say is that it will really be difficult for Trump to be able to say he's going to do anything to Putin if Putin do not agree to the ceasefire, to any deal. And we know, from account, I have never been to Russia, but it looks like Putin is not the only one in charge of Russia. He has people apart from his cabinet. He also has a quote unquote, clique that, he reports back to, and they sit down and discuss and decide the future of Russia. So I think this is going to be a hard one for Trump to do. We know that there is a meeting between the White House and Zelensky at the Oval Office. We'll see how that goes. But I think Putin has consistently maintained his demand. He wants some part of Ukraine that he currently occupied, and I think that is what he wants. And that hasn't changed since he invaded Ukraine. We'll see how that goes, but I think Ukraine is saying that they are not going to cede any land to Russia. And if that doesn't happen, if Ukraine decide not to cede any land for Russia, then the war will continue. I'm almost certain that Trump will not be able to broker this deal. Trump is just going to manage Putin, just like Obama managed Putin and Joe Biden managed him. I think he's just going to kick him down the road for the next president to deal with it again, and that next president will kick him down the road again. Putin is not a pushover. Is a hard nut for them to crack. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I remember during the campaign, Trump said, "Hey, when I, become president, I'm just gonna give Putin a call and tell him, hey, you got to stop the war and give the land back to Ukraine. Get out of Ukraine." Unfortunately, Trump has been president for 8 months now, and it looks like he lost his mojo and he lost his influence, and nothing is working. And it's sad. Shouldn't they have brought the Ukrainian president to the table in Alaska and all of them sit together and just talk it out and find a way forward? I know sometimes you want to meet people differently. I know they've been doing some meetings in the back, meetings that are not, that a lot of people outside are not privy to. So I'm sure they've already talked to the Ukrainian side of it. They've talked to Russian side of it. I'm sure that was why they set up the meeting in Alaska, and they're supposed to maybe wrap up the deal and announce some things. But it looks like the deal didn't go through. But you would think that they want to carry the president of Ukraine along just as a show of respect. I don't think Zelensky will want to come back to the Oval Office with the way he was treated the last time he was there. I believe if it wasn't for the war, if it wasn't for the help that is needing from the U.S. government, it's not gonna come back. But it looks like it's gonna come back because it needs your help. If the U.S. government do not support him, it's gonna have to, find another helper. And we already know that Russia and China, they're on the same page. Without the support of the US and also maybe the NATO nations, Ukraine is going to be wiped out. It looks like Ukraine is still putting up some fight with the help of the US government and also the NATO countries. But when that supply runs dry, Ukraine is going to be decimated by Russia. We know they've been fighting back. They've been doing a good job fighting back. But at some point, they're going to be fatigued and they're going to be tired and they'll be, easily captured, and it's not going to end well. So I hope they can quickly find some solutions, really take care of things. We all know that Trump is not going to be a pushover, and I know during one of the debates, Kamala said that Putin will hit Trump for lunch, and it looks like maybe that prophecy is coming true. And I did hear some Nigerian pastors give some prophecies about the tenure of the Russian president, but it looks like the prophecy isn't working. It's been a few years now since the war started, and the war is still ongoing. They're not close to, calling a truce at this point. But I think it's important that everyone just come back to the table and negotiate and make deals. Because with wars, there are no winners. There's going to be a lot of casualties. There's going to be a lot of lost time, lost opportunities, lost resources. So there are usually no winners when we're talking about wars. There are losers on both sides because both sides have lost people. They've lost their loved ones, and it's just sad. So hopefully they can quickly come to terms and go back to running their countries again.
Yeah. I mean, we all go back to a lot of us, the job we are doing, our jobs, we all go back because we have bills to pay. We need the money from the job. So that is why even though somebody pisses us off, even if something happened, the next day you summon courage again, you carry your bag and go back to that work. So connecting that to Zelensky, he has no choice. He's a beggar right now. He has no choice. He can't cut his shot. He can't do nothing. He needs US more than he needs, his wife. If US stop supplying weapons, in fact, we've seen how, they are not almost not making progress again with regards to the war since Joe Biden left. When Joe Biden was there, Joe Biden was literally handing him billions and billions and billions of dollars, to prosecute that war. But since Trump came into power, we've seen how the war has taken another turn. No more money. The European cannot quite support him as much as Biden was supporting him. We see that. So he has no choice about the meeting. He will definitely be there. And I saw on the newspaper, on the paper, Jazeera, a lot of outlets are reporting it that he will be accompanied to the White House tomorrow by Keir Starmer of, United Kingdom, France President Emmanuel Macron, I think Giorgio Maloney of Italy. So these people will accompany him to go see Trump tomorrow to avoid, him being embarrassed the way he was embarrassed the last time. He has no choice. He has to attend that meeting. Putin, I don't see Putin. I don't quite think he sees Zelensky as his equal. He see him as a little boy. I can negotiate with you. I have to negotiate, with your handlers. And from the way the whole things are playing, it shows that he has handlers. He has people that are calling the shots for him or deciding for him, or the people that he must meet before he makes decisions. And those are the people that Putin want to negotiate with. He has no business with Zelensky. In fact, I was surprised that Putin attended that meeting in Alaska. I was very surprised to see him. And it looks like some quarters are reporting that that was his body double. I don't know. I don't know what that means, but I'm surprised that he attended that meeting, considering the fact that there is ICC arrest for his warrant, which the United States is the signatory to. We'll see how the meeting goes tomorrow. Talking about, the religious leaders making prophecies about the war. We've always been, slaves to religion in Nigeria. They have always tried to, make everything spiritual or prophet, make everything about prophecies and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, those prophecies are just fake. Some of them, they just use common sense to talk and ended up terminating that as a prophecy. It's not. If you are thinking for yourself, you are just thinking out loud, just say that you are thinking out loud. Don't say that you are prophesying. It is making mockery of Christianity. And those kind of people, we shouldn't be listening to them.
Yeah, definitely agree. And if they're not truly hearing from God, they need to shut up. We know things change, prophecies do change. But if you're hearing from God, we know God doesn't change. If He tells you He's going to do something, then God will do it, right? So a lot of people just use that as an opportunity to sound intelligent, to make people feel like they're intelligent and or they know what's going on or they truly hear from God. Unfortunately, they just read papers, they read news, they watch TVs, and they use that to, justify their prophecies. I'm not sure I'm not saying that there are no real prophets out there. I mean, I'm sure there are good prophets, there are good prophetess out there, but unfortunately, the bad ones are making the good ones look bad, right? So, and talking about Zelensky too, I'm sure he'll be prepared to be embarrassed at the meeting tomorrow. I mean, all the world leaders coming in tomorrow is not going to take Trump 10 minutes to embarrass all of them and tell them to fix their tie or tell them to, use some cologne to smell good. So, Trump has no filters. If he wants to come for you, he'll come for you no matter who you're with. He doesn't have any filter. He tell you how he feels. So hopefully Trump can be a little diplomatic tomorrow and treat the other world leaders with some respect, with some dignity, because Zelensky not coming alone is probably a good idea. So if you had planned on coming alone, it would have been another disaster that will be in the media for the next few weeks. But it looks like he made a good choice to come with some other leaders just to keep Trump and his cohort in check and talk about the deals and see how they can make progress and stop the war.
I think I'm not in his shoe, so I think the stakes are high. But I think Zelensky messed up big time, allowing basically the Europe, America. I can't remember what they call the security body again.
NATO.
NATO to prosecute a war in their own land. I think it was a big mistake on his part. And I think that's why he continued to stay in power, because if he steps down as the president, it will probably be difficult for him to be around for a long time. I don't think his country will forgive him for what he has done to the country. This is something that they would have come to the round table when it started developing. But instead, he allowed Joe Biden, he allowed Boris Johnson of United Kingdom, he allowed all of those people to push him. Justin Trudeau of Canada, he allowed them to push him and he allowed them to push him and destroy his country. And it's unfortunate, that he allowed them to do that to him. They say we learn every day, and hopefully he have learned his lessons. And then tomorrow, he will be very careful how people he listens to. But it's unfortunate that even to today, he's continued to listen to these people, especially the Kestama and the French president. These are the people that pushed him before. Well, Kestama wasn't the prime minister, but Boris Johnson was, and Macron has been around for a long time. And these are the same people that pushed him to prosecute this war, thinking that he would defeat Russia. But we see that, they pushed him to fire, and he allowed the NATO countries to conduct a proxy war against Russia in his own soil. And tomorrow, well, he has lost a lot of people, and I don't think his country will forgive him for that. And as academic exercise or moving forward, even on our individual levels, do not pick up fights with people that you know that can crush you. Just be selective, pick your fight wisely, and do not bite more than you can chew. And thank you for listening, and we thank you for your support. Please, if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. It doesn't cost anything, and thank you for your support. Bye.